Hi and welcome. Today we're going to be working on a quick energizing morning practice to get our blood flowing, our bodies moving, and our breath moving as well. So we're going to start right away in standing. If you'd like to have any yoga props by your side, you can pause the video and grab them, but they're not necessarily, and I'm not really going to be cueing with any of them today. So begin just by rocking the weight in your feet a little front to back, side to side. Usually first thing in the morning we're a little groggy, our balance might not necessarily be the best. Our bodies might still be craving that sort of fetal position, crawling back into bed. So finding your long spine as you ground down and in. And then as all the toes point forward, let's soften the knees and bring the hands to the heart. We're going to take just a few moments to check in with the breath before we begin some movement, some asana. So if you're able, breathing in and out through the nose. And if there's any obstructions to the breath, breathing that way, you can always breathe through the mouth. You might imagine that you're sending the inhale all the way into your toes and fingertips and completely releasing the breath on a full exhale. If you're feeling especially tired or sluggish, you can make the inhale just a little bit longer for a paraka pranayama, consciously working with the breath. And if that ends up being too activating or a little too much, you can adjust the breath so the inhales and exhales are equal length. All right, let's take one or two more rounds of breath here. Great, let's flutter open the eyes if you've had them closed. And then we're going to get moving right away. Inhaling to reach out and up. And keep the knees soft. Look up if it feels okay in the neck. As you exhale, release your arms at your sides. We're going to fold down. Inhale, we're going to come up halfway. So our torso is going to be parallel with the earth. Exhale, release. Press into the feet, bend the knees. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, bring the hands down the midline to the heart. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling to scoop out and up. Big breath in, and as you exhale, releasing into a forward fold. Maybe the knees aren't quite as deeply bent this time. Inhale to come up halfway, hands to shins or thighs or the earth. Exhale to fold. Keep the knees bent. As you inhale, reach out and all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's try that one more time. Growing taller, full body stretch. And releasing. Soft bend in the knees as you come back up, taking up space. And then exhaling, hands to the heart. Pause for just a moment. And then we'll release our arms at our sides. Step just a little bit wider. And we're going to start to bend the knees and find a little sway. Your hands might start to bump up against your thighs or your low back, maybe giving yourself a little tapoint massage. And then we're going to work with a little Brahma Dandasana next. So when that feels complete, let's return to center. From our standing, and I'm going to do this on the side so you can get a better idea of how the alignment should be. Soften the knees. We're going to inhale, scoop up another breath, get tall again. This time as we exhale, we're going to only fold halfway and bring your arms to a T. We're going to take this first round a little bit slower. So pulling the abdominals in and up so you have core engagement to help resource and support you here. Pressing out through the tailbone and then out through the crown of the head as you keep the chin tucked. Soft knees. One more inhale here. And exhale, release all the way forward. Bend the knees, press into the feet. Inhale, scoop out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Now we're going to add on to that. Inhaling to reach out and up. Exhale, fold halfway, arms to T. This time as we inhale, reach just your arms forward. The palms are going to face each other. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press into the feet, reach out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's take one more round of that Brahmanandasana. Inhale, big breath, full body experience. Exhale, fold halfway. Inhale to reach as the gaze stays down. And then exhale, soft knees as you forward fold. Press into the feet. Inhale, come back up, reaching side to side. Exhale, hands to the heart. Awesome. Now let's step the feet a little bit wider. Bring your hands down to the hips and step wide enough where you feel like you're able to stay grounded in the four corners of your feet. So if your ankles are rolling in or out, adjust your base. We're going to start with the hands on the hips. As you inhale, start to lift your heart, look up just a little bit. As you exhale, we're going to fold halfway again. Soft knees as we inhale, press into the feet, come back up. 2 more times, just like that. Exhale, halfway fold. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. And this time we're going to inhale, press up. And exhale, let your legs or your hands start to come down your legs as we come into a deeper forward fold and hold for a moment. So you can keep your knees bent, hands to the knees. If you do have any yoga props, you can place blocks or cushions under the hands. And if it's accessible in this moment, you might bring your hands to the earth. So lots of options, lots of variations here. And then whichever version you're doing, you can decide if your gaze stays right down where it is, or you can start to bring the chin in towards the chest, checking in with the neck. We're going to take this into a soft twist. So bend your knees enough so your right hand can come to your midline, pressing on the earth. As we inhale, reach the left arm up. Exhale, it comes back down. Switching sides, left hand plants. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. Exhale, come back down. 2 more times on each side. Inhaling to reach, soft twist. Exhaling to come back down. Please remember that it's morning and your body is not as warmed up as it would be at the end of the day. So not forcing yourself into any deeper twists than you need to be in. Honoring any sensations that might be happening in the body. And then bringing the right hand back down to the earth, soft knees. We're going to shift this into a warrior 2. So walk your hands over towards your left foot. We're going to turn the left foot so it's parallel with the long edge of the mat. The right foot's going to stay how it is, or turn the toes in just a little bit. Bend into the left knee, stack it over the ankle, and then press up. Hands to hips to start. Take 1 breath here, and then reach your arms out at your sides. Adjust your feet as necessary. Gaze can be forward or over the left fingertips. You might wiggle the fingers, especially if your mind is starting to take you away with what you need to do next. See if you can take this moment that you've already set aside for checking in with your body, your breath, preparing for your day. Now we're going to add a dynamic flow to our warrior 2. So let's inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up. As you exhale, arms come back down, deep bend in that knee. 2 more times. Inhaling to reach up and straighten. And exhaling to come back down. Inhaling. Exhaling. We'll take 1 full breath as we hold our warrior 2 statically. And then we'll release our hands back to the hips. Straighten the leg. Both toes are going to turn in. And then the right foot is going to turn out. Taking our warrior 2 on the opposite side. Bending into the right knee. And then when you're ready, fingertips reach away from each other. Always remembering that another option would be to leave your hands where they are. Keeping the gaze forward. Take a peek and make sure you can see your right big toe. Make sure that the knee alignment is keeping you comfortable, keeping the joint safe. And then we're going to add a little dynamic work, if you so choose. Using that inhale to straighten the leg, reach the arms. And exhale to come back down. 2 more in your own time. Follow your breath. Pause for one breath in your warrior two. And exhale. And drop your hands to your hips. Both feet are going to turn in again. And take a moment with your hands on your hips to lift the heart as you breathe in and look up. And then exhale, soft forward fold, just as far as you'd like to go. We'll bend the knees and then start to press back up. From here, we're going to bring the heels in. And then we're going to press our knees out. So we don't want the knees collapsing in. And that's why, because you might lose a lot of stability or a little stability. We want to keep the knee joints protected here. So shift your weight a little side to side and notice if you're able to drop your tailbone down towards the earth, if you can stay grounded in your feet. And if that's not really happening, come up just a little bit. If you're not feeling any sort of muscle engagement in the legs, then I encourage you to come just a little bit lower. So exploring your seat and noticing just how close to the earth you need to be to find that appropriate edge. Let's bring the hands to the heart. Elbows are out, and we're going to start to press the palms together. So just for a few seconds, feeling all the muscles in the arms start to engage, starting to feel a little heat maybe, our heart. And then keeping a bend in the knees if you'd like, or straightening them, couple of different invitations there. We're going to interlace the fingers and press the arms forward. Awesome. As you inhale, if you haven't already, straighten both legs, reach up towards the sky. And as you exhale, soft bend side to side. Bring it into the QL, side body stretch. And then as you've evened it out, going either way an even number of times, let's release the hands back to the hips. Turning the toes forward, softening the knees. You can either hop towards the center or you can heel toe the feet all the way in. So lots of options. Let's go ahead and take a step towards the top of the mat if you're not there already. Inhaling, scoop up a breath. Exhale, let's fold all the way down. Coming into our chair pose, our last pose to build heat before we cool it down just a bit. Bending into the knees. Find your seat in your low body and then bring your hands up to your hips. Keep as much of a straight spine as you're able to. And then you can decide if you'd like to stay here with hands on hips, or maybe hands to cactus arms. Arms can reach straight out with palms together, or you might take a version of airplane arms reaching back, palms up. You might want to give them all a try today. You might know exactly where you want to land. I'm going to practice some cactus arms myself for a little more heart and chest opening. These areas that tend to get tense and tight as we sleep, like this. See if you can find a smooth breath, even if you notice a little tremble, some heat building. Waking up the body. And then on an inhale, we're going to reach up, straighten the legs. Exhale, hands come down the midline to the heart. And pause for a breath or two. Making our way back down. So we're going to take one more big breath as we reach out, up. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms. We're going to step the feet back and find our first and only downward dog of the class. So really taking advantage of this one, pedaling it out, bending one knee and then the other, pressing into the fingertips to relieve some stress on the wrists. When it feels appropriate, you can start to anchor both heels towards the earth. So it doesn't matter how far the heels are away from the mat. What's important is that you're pressing them down towards the mat and getting a calf stretch. We're keeping a nice long spine here. Upper thighs spiral in as the upper arms spiral out. Take one more breath. On the exhale, we're gonna shift forward for one plank. Shoulders stack over the wrists. Dropping the hips. Always an option to keep the knees on the earth here. You can release this at any time with soft elbows, or you can hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring our knees down. You can either keep them together or bring them as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. Take a child's pose. And taking a few breaths, notice your heart rate, notice how you're feeling. You might have built up a little bit of a sweat. And then we're going to slowly walk the hands up towards the knees and come to a seated kneeling position. If it feels okay on the body, we're going to tuck the toes and sit back on the heels. If that feels too intense for the feet, especially first thing in the morning, or if you have plantar fasciitis, then an option to try a version where you're kneeling up with the hips stacked over the knees. And you can always try one foot at a time too. So if you have one foot that's not as happy as the other one this morning, you might want to not hold that one as much, or even take the option to skip it. And take just a couple more breaths here into your feet, whichever version you're in. And then exhale, coming back down to a seated position. Starting cross-legged. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Cobbler's pose. Rooting into the tops of the thighs, letting the knees fall soft and open. If you have props, you're welcome to throw them under your knees here. The hands can come to the shins or the feet as we inhale and sit tall. Notice your long spine. Relax your shoulders. From here, we're going to drop the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Notice where your gaze wants to go. And slowly start to take the gaze up, just until you feel a little sensation in the front of the neck. And then coming back down, dropping the gaze towards the chest. We're going to roll the chin all the way down towards the sternum. So we're in center now. And then taking this over to the opposite side, rolling left ear over left shoulder. And pausing, breathing into the right side of the neck here. Maybe sighing it out. And then gently taking your gaze up just a bit. Breath or two. In your own time when you're ready, you can slowly start to drop the gaze down. So keeping that slight angle on the neck before we drop our chin in towards our chest. And then melting the chin forward. Inhale to look up. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips and release the heart towards the toes. You can choose to press the elbows into the knees if you'd like. Inhale, press into your sit bones and come up. We're going to straighten both legs. And then take the right knee and bend it, place the right foot on the earth. If it feels comfortable in your body today, you can cross that foot over the extended leg. Another option would be to bend the left knee and bring the left foot to the outside of the right hip. So finding a variation that allows you to feel both sit bones on the earth. Holding the knee with our right hand, we're going to inhale, reach out and up with the left arm. And then exhale, starting to twist over to the right and bringing your elbow around your knee. The right hand is going to come either to your outer hip or behind you. So we're getting into the hip here, the IT band, and then feeling a twist in the spine as well. And taking just a couple more breaths here. You might choose to hug your knee a little closer into your heart if that feels good in the hip, the leg. And then we're going to unwind on an inhale. Coming forward, releasing the legs. If you'd like, you can bounce them out a little bit or give them some pats. And then we're going to take that on the other side. So we'll begin bending the left knee, stepping the foot first to the earth. And then if it feels comfortable, then we step it over the leg. So checking in. If your sit bones are still on the mat, we're going to try option to bend into the right knee, bringing the right foot to the outside of the left hip. And this time we're going to hold the knee with the left hand, inhaling to reach out and up with the right arm, and then exhaling, coming into your twist. If you lose that sense of grounding in your sit bones, then you can come back forward, maybe extend one leg or uncross them. Your gaze can go anywhere that feels good on the neck. So that can be forward, to the side, or you might even start to look behind you a little bit as you allow the left shoulder to roll up and back. Don't forget to breathe. I just noticed that I was holding my breath. It can often be a little more tricky to get a full breath in these twists. And take one more round of breath. And then let's use an inhale to start to come forward. Make your way onto your back. If you have a yoga strap handy, you're welcome to grab it for our reclined pigeon pose, getting into the hips just a little bit more, or any sort of a strap would do. Beginning by crossing the right ankle over the left knee. If this is enough sensation in the hip, hang out here. If you'd like a little bit more sensation in the hip, option to bring the left knee in towards the heart, reaching the hands or the strap behind the thigh or the shin. And take a few breaths. Notice the sensation of your spine on the earth. And if you're starting to cool down a little too much, you might play with increasing the inhale just a little bit. You might find a rock side to side. And then pausing in the center, we're going to repeat that on the opposite side. So releasing both feet mindfully. And then when you're ready, switching left ankle on right knee, letting the left knee hang open, noticing sensations in the hip. And if you'd like to try another variation, you can start bringing the right knee in. You can notice which side is the tighter one. If this is your tighter hip, you don't need to force and try to get to the same variation that you were on the first side. So really honoring any sensations in the body. And take one more breath in and out. Maybe find a little bit of a rock before releasing. And then when you're ready, both feet can come down to the earth. Arms will be at your sides. Walk your shoulders away from your ears if they've kind of come up, if they've snuck up. We're going to keep the left foot planted and extend the right foot up towards the sky. Keep a little bit of a bend in your knee. We're going to press into the heel as we pull the toes towards the face. So noticing more of a stretch into the calf muscle. Option to press a little more into the heel so there's less of a bend in the knee. You might begin to feel it more into the hamstrings. And then from here, turn your toes slightly to the left. You're going to notice an increased sensation in the outer hip. If you'd like even more, really slowly start to drop your toes across the body. Usually you only need to come a couple of inches into this to find an appropriate edge to this stretch. Inhale to come back to center. and release the knee. I'm going to try that on the opposite side, beginning by inhaling, extending the leg with a healthy bend in the knee here. Playing with flexing the ankle, pulling the toes towards the body. And then perhaps pressing into the heel more, starting to straighten the leg. Always keeping at least a slight bend in the knee joint. And then we're going to softly turn the left toes over to the right. That might be enough sensation. If it's too much and doesn't feel comfortable, you can bring the foot back to where it was. Or if you'd like to explore, you can start to drop the toes across the body to the right side. And you may notice that your hips are tight in different spots. So it can be really common to be tighter on the front of one hip and the back of the other as the body tries to compensate for imbalances. So yoga is a really good way to get curious and notice what's happening. Let's inhale, come back to center. Exhale, release the foot to the ground. Bring your arms out to your sides. And let's windshield wiper the knees side to side a few times. And then we're going to make our way back up to seated. So you can either roll on your side and press up, or you can hold onto your knees or ankles and rock and roll towards the top. You might even rock and roll all the way up to standing. If your spine's healthy, you feel like you have the energy. I'm going to give this a try. Okay. Sometimes I try that and it doesn't work. So if you give it a try and you kind of flop around, see if you can allow that to bring a little bit of humor into your morning. No one's watching us. I'm the only one being recorded. So sometimes that can be helpful to remind yourself, especially if you tend to be a little more self-conscious. Let's soften the knees. Inhale, take another big breath in. Scoop up a full inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, hands come down to the heart. 2 more just like that. Soft knees, inhale, out and up. Exhale down. Last one, breathing out and up. Exhaling down. Pause here. Allow the gaze to softly come down the bridge of the nose, a few feet in front of you. And then let's shift one hand onto the belly, one hand onto the heart. You can keep your gaze as it is, or you can allow the eyes to close. And take this final moment to set an intention for the rest of your day. So you've already begun with some self-care. Think of, can you manage, not can you manage, but can you take this self-care energy that we've cultivated on the mat and allow it to sprinkle throughout the rest of your day? One more big breath in together. And exhale. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you feel like your bodies are ready to face the day. You feel a little more awake, feel a little more energy, and I hope to see you soon.